Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice. Here we take up MCQs based on important articles and news from the Hindu and the Indian Express newspaper. Topics which we are going to cover today are displayed on your screen. Let's begin the discussion. Now let's start our session with our first question, which is based on this article, and this article appeared on page 14 in the Hindu newspaper. According to this article, Union Finance Minister in budget announced to launch the Pradhan Mantri PVTG development mission, which aims to saturate the PVTG families and habitations with basic facilities. And this news is about Odisha state is going to benefit from this mission. Now UPSC has already asked questions based on vulnerable sections of the society. As in 2019, it has asked questions based on PVTGs. So on the similar lines, we have taken up today's practice question. Question says, with reference to particularly vulnerable tribal groups, consider the following statements. And in this question, you have to identify the incorrect statements. The first statement is, Andaman and Nicobar Islands is the only union territory where PVTGs reside. Now, as there are 75 identified PVTGs who reside in 18 states and only one union territory, and that is Andaman and Nicobar Island. So this statement is correct. And if you can see in previous year question, first statement is PVTGs reside in 18 states and one union territory. That one union territory is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So here also first statement is correct. Now let's come to the second statement. Madhya Pradesh is home to the highest number of PVTG community. Now this statement is incorrect, as Odisha is home to the highest number of PVTG community. It has 13 identified PVTG communities, while Madhya Pradesh has 7 communities. Now let's come to the third statement. Economic backwardness is not the criteria for identifying particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Now, there are 4 criteria for identifying PVTG groups, namely pre-agricultural level of technology. Second is low level of literacy. Third is economic backwardness. And the last one is declining or stagnant population. So with this, a third statement is incorrect, as economic backwardness is one of the criteria. So the correct answer is option B, that is 2 and 3 only. In this previous year question, as there are 75 total PVTGs officially notified groups in the country, so our third statement is incorrect. So with this, our correct answer is option C, that is 1, 2 and 4. Now let's come to the next practice question. Question says, Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies, that is ICET, is sometimes seen in news in the context of negotiations held between India and which of the following? The first option is Finland, second United States of America, third United Arab Emirates, and the last one is Sweden. The answer of this practice question is option B, that is United States of America, because there is an article on page 18 in the Hindu newspaper, and according to this article, Indian National Security Advisor and his American counterpart met in Washington for the inaugural dialogue of the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies, that is ICET. The aim of this program is to increase the depth and scope of bilateral cooperation in cutting-edge technology, including in the defense sector. There are 6 areas of planned cooperation. The first is strengthening innovation ecosystem. Second is defense innovation and technology cooperation. Third is resilient semiconductor supply chains. Fourth is space. Fifth is STEM talent. And the last one is next generation telecommunications. The programs include a research agency partnership between the US National Science Foundation and Indian science agencies. Now, why we have taken this question? As UPSC has been asking questions based on bilateral agreements involving India or affecting India's interest. As in 2017, they have framed question based on broad-based trade and investment agreement, and the answer of this PYQ is option A. Now our next question is based on this article, which appeared on page 13. The context of this article is that National Payments Corporation of India paved the way for international numbers to be able to transact using UPI. In a nutshell, non-resident accounts such as non-resident external accounts, that is NRE, and non-resident ordinary accounts, that is NRO, having international numbers will now be allowed into the UPI payment system. Now, as UPSC has asked questions based on different terms related to Indian economy. So here we have curated practice question on the similar lines. In this question you have to identify the correct statements. The first statement is non-resident external accounts are used to manage income earned in India by non-residents. Now, non-resident external accounts are those accounts used by non-residents to transfer earnings from foreign soil to India. So our first statement is incorrect. Now let's come to the second statement. Non-resident ordinary accounts are those used by non-residents to transfer earnings from foreign soil to India. Now you know that this is the explanation of non-resident external accounts, that is NRE. So this statement is incorrect. But what is non-resident ordinary accounts? These are the accounts used to manage income earned in India by non-resident. Now let's come to the third statement. Merchant discount rate is the sum total of all the charges and taxes that our digital payment entails. Now this statement is correct, as it is the sum total of all the charges and taxes that our digital payment entails. Basically, it is a fee charged from a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from customers through credit and debit cards in their establishments. So here, correct answer is option C, that is 3 only. In this PYQ, statement 2 is incorrect, as certificate of deposit is a short-term debit instrument. It is issued by financial institutions and regulated by RBI. So statement 2 is incorrect. And statement 4 is also incorrect, as zero coupon bonds are issued at a discount and redeemed at par. No interest payment is made on such bonds at periodic intervals before maturity. So the answer of this PYQ is option C, that is 1 and 3 only. Now our next question is based on this article. This article talks about Jal Jeevan Mission. Recently, Union Government's Jal Jeevan Mission has been allocated rupees 69,684 crore, up from the rupees 54,808 crore the Jal Shakti Ministry is expected to spend in the current financial year. Now this works out to a roughly 27% hike. Now, as UPSC has been asking questions based on important schemes and yojana, like this question came in year 2017 based on soil health card. So here we have curated practice question based on the same theme. Question says, consider the following statements with reference to Jal Jeevan Mission, and here you have to identify correct statements. The first statement is, it aims to provide drinking water through individual household tap connections to all Indian households by 2024. Now, Jal Jeevan Mission was launched in August 2019 to provide safe and adequate drinking water through individual house tap connections by 2024 to all households only in rural areas. So this information is incorrect. So our first statement is incorrect. Now let's come to the second statement. The scheme is fully funded by the central government of India. Now this statement is incorrect, as central government funds 50% of the cost with states and union territories, 90% of the cost for northeastern and Himalayan states, and 100% of the cost for union territories without a legislature. Now let's come to the third statement. It also ensures drinking water source augmentation, grey water treatment and reuse. Now this information is correct, as it ensures the conjunctive use of conserved water, drinking water source augmentation, drinking water supply system, grey water treatment and reuse. So here our correct answer is option C, that is 3 only. Now in this PYQ, Soil Health Card Scheme is a tailor-made to issue soil cards to farmers which will carry crop-wise recommendations of nutrients and fertilizers required for the individual farms. This is aimed to help farmers to improve productivity through judicious use of inputs. Thus only statement 3 is correct. So here answer is option B. Now our next question is based on this article, and this article is about newly conceptualized Pradhan Mantri Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman, that is PM VIKAS scheme in budget 2023. Now, as we have already discussed that scheme and yojana is important for your prelims examination. This question based on Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana came in year 2018. So here we have curated practice question based on Pradhan Mantri Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman scheme. And in this question you have to identify correct statements. The first statement is, the scheme is an initiative by the Ministry of skill development and entrepreneurship. Now this statement is incorrect as it is an initiative from the Ministry of Minority Affairs. Now let's come to the second statement. The scheme aims to provide formal education and skill training to minority youths. Now this statement is also incorrect as it is an skilling initiative focusing on the skilling, entrepreneurship and leadership training requirements of the minority and artisan communities across the country. So it does not talk about imparting formal education. Also, a scheme is intended to be implemented in conjunction with the Skill India mission of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and through integration with the Skill India portal. So here our correct answer is option D, neither 1 nor 2. In this PYQ, statement first is incorrect as Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana is the flagship scheme of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and not of Ministry of Labour and Employment. So here our correct answer is option C. Now our last question is based on this article which appeared on page 13 in the Indian Express. According to this article, recently Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in her budget 2023 speech announced the new small savings scheme for women, that is Mahila Samman Savings Certificate for women. Now let's understand more about it with the help of MCQ, and you know scheme is important for your prelims examination. This question based on gold monetization scheme came in year 2016. So let's come to the practice question. Here you have to identify correct statements with reference to Mahila Samman savings certificates. The first statement is duration of the savings certificate would be 5 years. Now this statement is incorrect as savings certificate would have a tenure of 2 years. Now let's come to the second statement. Interest rate paid on the savings certificate would be market determined. Now again this statement is incorrect as certificate would offer a fixed interest of 7.5%. Now let's come to the third statement. Deposit of 2 lakh could be made in the name of woman or girl. Now this statement is correct as the certificate will offer deposit facility up to 2 lakh in the name of women or girls with partial withdrawal option. So here our correct answer is option D, that is 3 only. Now in this PYQ, the main objective of the gold monetization scheme is to reduce India's dependence on gold imports and bring all the gold lying idle with individuals and household. And it does not talk about FDI in the gold and jewelry sector. So here our correct answer is option C,